Hello and welcome to the introduction of basics of MATLAB. And today we are going to see a lot many new things which we are going which are really relevant as far as MATLAB is concerned. So this is basically a very small introduction of MATLAB, in which we would be basically covering up very elementary issues in concern with MATLAB. So for example, we'll be basically dealing with what is MATLAB, then we'll be dealing with overview of MATLAB system, then parts of MATLAB, then MATLAB toolboxes. However, we'll be highly precise in our delivery. MATLAB's important windows. Then next we'll see briefly about getting help using command window. How do we use command window? How do we use help in getting the easier commands? And then we'll basically shorten our span by basically having this elementary mathematics. In which we'll basically touch upon the variable basics. Now, as we all know that we have got some basics, a brief introduction in today's lecture. So, in next part of my presentation, I will be basically dealing with more elaborate view of everything which we have seen in just now. Now, let us start with the introduction. What is MATLAB? Now, it stands for Matrix Laboratory, in the sense that whatever we deal with, whatever object we deal with, whatever the basic building block which we deal with in this particular MATLAB is defined to be a matrix. So everything we define in terms of matrix in this case. So it is pretty natural to say that our mathematical background has to be very strong if we are going to use MATLAB for whatever applications we would like to use. Now, it's a software comprising of very high level fourth generation language. Now, we can tell it to be a software. I mean, it's a software package which basically deals with very high level fourth generation language. Then we have got several computational tools which are available. The computational tools will span from basics to advanced tools. So we can be able to deal with using MATLAB basic mathematics and as well as the advanced one, including um, geometries, including graphs, including uh, lot of other things which we generally go for in our engineering curriculum, in your financial curriculum. So then we will also see visualization tools. So in this MATLAB, lot of things are there through which we can be able to better visualize the different aspects of different diagrams. Then we'll also deal with simulation tools, and then it's a kind of integrated development environment in which various things are being integrated together. Later on we'll see that there are a lot of other things which we can be able to integrate in MATLAB. So it's a kind of IDE. Just like another IDE, it's another very useful IDE. Now, MATLAB system consists of basically various elements: language, work environment, graphic system, mathematical functions, and so on. So we'll deal with each one of them in brief. So firstly, it's a language, and as we say it's a language, so it consists of arrays and matrices. So it basically deals with matrices. As we have earlier told, it's a matrix laboratory, so mostly dealing with matrices. And then whenever we say matrices, then obviously one two-dimensional picture comes into our mind. However, it also deals with arrays. Arrays termed as one-dimensional group of elements. So it's a language, so it will definitely support all the language features which we generally see in a particular language. For example, it supports loops, it supports switch statements, it supports case statements, it supports all the control flow statements, then it supports file IO, it supports input output operations, all type of input output operations, which includes file, which includes terminal, which includes console, everything. Then as we say, it also has data structures in which we usually collect the different entities together which belongs to different types. I mean, typically a data structure consists of accumulation of entities which are of different types, so it also has data structures. And then we do have user defined functions as well as scripts, so we could be able to make our own scripts. And at the same time, as a typical language supports, we can be able to design our new function, user defined function, as well as naturally we will be able to use the predefined functions. Then working environment includes editing, variable management, importing and exporting of data, and debugging. So all these activities we can be able to easily do it using MATLAB. We can do file editing, we can save the files, we can edit those files as per our need. Then there's a kind of variable management in which the variables are being managed or being created in the MATLAB on the fly. So we don't have to go for static declaration of any variable. It gets created on the fly, and we can be able to use it uh, directly. Then importing and exporting of data. uh, External data can be imported in the MATLAB. At the same time, we can be able to export the data from MATLAB to the other consoles. So it's pretty easy. I mean, the graphs, the outputs which we create, the waveforms which we create using MATLAB, those can be easily exported in using different formats, like PNG format or JPG format or anything else, very easily using MATLAB. Then we can be able to use it for debugging as well. So it can be able to do all the functions typically which is being done by typical language, by higher level language. So it's a very congenial working environment. Then graphic system includes two-dimensional and three-dimensional data visualization, and it also supports animation. And then we can also make our own custom GUI development. So we can make our own custom GUI for our own projects. And does I mean, there are a variety of options in terms of graphics or GUI in MATLAB, because it supports its own graphical user interface, and at the same time it also allows us to make our own graphical user interface as per our need of the project. So that means that, I mean, we have got a variety of options to work upon as far as graphics is concerned in MATLAB. Then at the same time, it also gives us 3D data visualization. So it helps us to interpret the various typical results, difficult results, quite easily by using 3D visualization. So on and on, it is really a very helpful environment. Then next comes the mathematical functions. Well, that's where the MATLAB is basically, I mean, it is basically a mathematical tool. I mean, it starts with mathematics, it starts with matrices. So naturally it has to deal with usually all the functions, mathematical functions which are supported in mathematics. For example, it supports basic functions, which is including sum, which is including difference, sign, integration, differentiation, everything else, multiplication, division, everything else, whatever you want to go for, trigonometry, mensuration, quadratic, I mean, everything. And then at the same time, it also supports heavy mathematical functions, which includes fast Fourier transform, taking in inverse, then solving the Bessel functions. And then there are, I mean, it is limitless. There are a lot of things which we can have in particular, in this particular MATLAB. So it is, all in all, it's a very useful tool as when we would like to deal with heavy mathematical manipulations. Then it also has a very great application programming interface which we can use. This allows us to use MATLAB with C pretty easily. Then at the same time, Fortran, although Fortran is very old language as per today's scenario, but it supports. Then it also supports the API using Java. So uh, both way we can be able to use it. For example, we can be able to export our code from MATLAB to the other languages, as well as we can be able to use the the facilities given by other languages into the MATLAB. So it is a really a great API all in all. Then there are various parts of MATLAB. It can act as a developed environment. It can also act as a programming language. Then it supports graphics, as we have seen. Then a next important feature is toolboxes. MATLAB has got everything integrated within it. It supports various functions, very specialized functions in terms of toolboxes. So toolboxes allow us to use a variety of functionalities corresponding to every domain in the day-to-day world, and thus it allows us to work upon in civil engineering, in electronics engineering, in electrical engineering, in mechanical engineering. It virtually supports everything. I mean, in computer science, it helps us to develop very different type of GUIs. I mean, there is limitless. I mean, there are a lot of neural network toolboxes there, then control system toolboxes there, then there are a lot of. I mean, there is no limit to it. So it has got a huge number of toolboxes, and naturally, the toolbox which you need is naturally, even it can support aerospace also. So the toolboxes, I mean, you can take the toolboxes, you can buy the toolboxes as per your need. Then it has got a very good API, as we have discussed in the last slide. Then what the kind of appeal which we can have from MATLAB? Interactive code development proceeds incrementally. So excellent development and rapid prototyping environment. Using MATLAB, as we will discuss later on in the future lectures, that we can easily develop a very good development environment, and it also helps us to go for rapid prototyping. Rapid prototyping mean, if you want to develop a small bunch of code, then we can be able to develop it very efficiently, very proficiently in a very small amount of time, and we are done with the product. So this supports, I mean, this is supported pretty efficiently using MATLAB. Another very key feature, those who have worked on using higher level languages, those can really appreciate this feature. Basic data element is auto-indexed array. So in this case, the indexing is automatically done. We do not have to index it every time. We need to use some small counter type of element declared for counting the arrays. It is auto indexed, so that helps us tremendously in using it anytime. This allows us quick solutions to problems that can be formulated in vector and matrix form. So we naturally deal with converting the problems in these forms, so that they could be able to get solved by MATLAB pretty efficiently. So we always have to look at every problem in terms of vectors, and then when we deal with one dimension, and then yeah, definitely matrix form when we deal with two dimensions. So I mean, it's all in all, it allows us to use these mathematical tools, which are matrices, to solve our day-to-day life, typical problems of day-to-day life, day-to-day mathematics pretty efficiently. So then it has also supported by powerful GUI tools, and at the same time it also allows us to make our own GUI. So if you do not do not want to use the existing GUI, we can go for performing our new I mean, our own GUI. Then it has got large collection of toolboxes, as we have discussed in the last slide. uh, it is collections of topic related MATLAB functions that extend the core functionality significantly. So huge number of functions are being supported by huge number of toolboxes, and the only thing which we need to understand or remember is to remember the functions, and that's all. I mean, we don't have to go from the scratch or start from the scratch. Everything is available in the MATLAB. You just have to seek to it. You have to seek to it. You have to seek it. I mean, you have to deal with it in the way which we want. I mean, suppose if you want to have a mathematical function which is needed, we just go for help command, and using that help command you can be able to discuss or to find it out what that particular function contains, and then just use it if it suits your requirement. So in this way, it's a very huge a library of toolboxes, and then within those toolboxes it has got a very huge collection of predefined functions. And later on we'll discuss in the second part of the lecture that it also supports to create our own functions. Now these are the typical examples of toolboxes. However, as I have said earlier, there are very few. I mean, to name a few, these are the toolboxes. But as I have told you that there are limitless number of toolboxes which are available. We can start with mathematics and analysis optimization, requirements management interface, then statistics. Statistics itself is a huge area to deal with. Then it also supports neural network, then symbolic and extended mathematics. Then it supports PDE, partial differential equations, then full differential equations, PLS toolbox, mapping, spline, everything else in supported in mathematics. Next is data acquisition and import. It supports data acquisition systems development, then instrumentation and control, then Excel link. We can be able to expand our data, or export our data, import our data via Excel, then portable graph object. Then there are variety of electronics applications in MATLAB, which is image processing and signal processing, communications, then frequency domain representation, then higher order spectral analysis, then system identification, wavelet transform, filter design. Everything is supported in MATLAB pretty easily, in the sense that it supports command FFT, wavelet, something like that. I mean, as simple as that. And then you just have to fill out the parameters, and then the results are on the fly. So it is really a very congenial environment to work upon as far as the signal processing is concerned. Then not only that, it also has control design, control system toolbox, then fuzzy logic toolbox. It supports low robust control, microanalysis and synthesis, and then model predictive control. So all in all, it is having a huge library of toolboxes in which it supports variety of functions. Now, where I simple some important command windows, which are important windows in MATLAB. They are command window. This is where you will enter your commands. Usually later on we'll see that we'll definitely not rely mostly on the command window, where we basically go for designing our own file in which we write commands. So this is what is called a script file. So we usually rely on scripting rather than writing a command on the window. So but I mean, if there are less number of tasks which are to be performed, then we can be able to do it on command window also. Then definitely if you are entering more number of commands, then definitely it has to remember itself. So uh, this kind of facility is there, running history of commands, which is preserved across MATLAB sessions. So in one session, all the commands which you have entered, they are preserved, and then by putting lower arrow key, you can be able to call them anytime. Then current directory, we always work in a default directory, which is called as hash I'm sorry, $MATLAB root, and that is the root directory, and then work. Then workspace, GUI for viewing, loading, and saving MATLAB variables. Then array editor, GUI for viewing and modifying contents of MATLAB variables, openvar, varname, and double click the array names in the workspace. So these are all the array editors which are also possible. Then workspace includes everything uh, uh, which includes GUI, which includes loading and saving MATLAB variables. So everything, uh, uh, whatever number of variables which you have used for in the daily working of MATLAB, everything is there in the workspace. So this way, these are the very important windows, and whenever we deal with in specific with specific review, maybe in the next class we will be dealing with working in real MATLAB, working on real MATLAB commands. So that 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 point of time we'll see these things in details. Then editor, debugger, we have got text editor, we have got debugger. Then editor works with file types in addition to MATLAB files. We typically we save the files in terms of MATLAB files. Now these are the snapshots of uh, MATLAB's main interface, which is a desktop. This is how you will see how do they look like. We have got some names of variables: A, ANS, and IDX. A stands for one matrix, which is a magic 4, and you know these are the things which we really look at in MATLAB. So this is command window, and command window always has collection of all these things. So MATLAB's main interface window called MATLAB desktop, it consists of workspace, command window, command history, current directory window, and the start button to get you started. So everything included over here. Then it also has editor window. uh, this is the typical M file which we create. Now it may contain some programs, it may contain some scripts, it may contain some collection of commands which we would like to uh, execute in a sequential fashion. So this is a example of a M file. Here you will see that we have written a function called as mygauss, and we are passing some parameters into the function x and params, and we are getting some output of y in this case. So editor window is used to edit source files and other files such as M files, etc. So MATLAB help. Now what is uh, in what way we can be able to use MATLAB for getting help of commands? So uh, as you know, it's a very user-friendly interface, and we can be able to use MATLAB for getting this for getting the help as and when it is desired. And we'll later on see that there are various commands which we can easily utilize for getting the help. So these are the examples. We have got general purpose commands, we have got operator and special characters, help, and we have got programming language constructs using lang. ELMAT is elementary matrices and matrix manipulation, then ELFUN, elementary mathematical functions, and then so on. There is a huge list of help topics. So all what we have to do is that we have to just type in the initials of that uh, type of character or type of command which you would like to use to get the help with, and then we could be able to see the intricacies of it. So these are the uh, uh, different help functions. For example, help matfun. So matrix functions, here it will show us variety of matrix functions like norm, normest, rank, det, determinant, trace, sum of diagonal elements, null space, orthogonalization, then reduced row echelon form, and then angle between two subspaces. And so all these things we could be able to do it pretty easily by typing it help for this. Then uh, these are other help topics. For example, if you want to get the help on determinant, we can put help det, then it will guide us that detx is the determinant of square matrix x, and then it also guides us that if you'd like to use for testing the singularity matrix, then instead of det you can also see cond. So I mean, this way it opens up lot of options to use if you want to deal with it. Then it will also search for keywords, keyword search in help entries. So look for who. Now who is when we put who, then it will list current variables. So whatever variables we have used till now in our current session, it will detail us all those. Then whose list current variables, long form. Then whose list when we'll type, then whose command will be able to give us a list of current variables, but they are available in the long form, so we could be able to know how much they are. For example, in the below whose function is whose command has been typed, and It gives us name, size, byte, class, and attributes. Attributes in this case, they may be read, they may be write, they can be executable. Then variable basics. So these are the, as you know, we don't have to declare variables as we usually do in our normal sequential languages, structured languages, C, C++, Java, something like that. We can use the variables without declaring them directly. So as you can see, product is the variable which we have used directly. I mean, we don't, without knowing that it has been declared earlier. So that's really a very efficient way of doing the things. So that's how we will declare variable. Clear will clear all the contents earlier, and then we'll start with product, uh, the equation. Then whenever whenever a statement, when we say that there is a statement written in MATLAB, so it always terminates by a semicolon. So semicolon is the way you terminate usually a statement. So now this is a typical program which will tell us small things to be done. So in this case, as we have seen that we have got the variety of variables, COMSUM, then product, then show underscore I. Now if you type in who, then you'll get these variables, list of variables. Then if you type in the name of the variable, then you'll get the value of that variable. So as simple as that. So now we'll deal with some data types. The basic data type used in MATLAB is double precision array. So those who have gone through the basic language interface, those know how what a double precision means. We usually start with integer, then we usually start with character, then integer, then float, and then double. So double is the highest precision which we'll usually see in the basic language, which is C language. So in this case, the MATLAB starts actually with the double precision. So it has got huge amount of memory to store the data within a variable. No declarations needed, so MATLAB automatically allocates required memory. So as this is the most beautiful feature of MATLAB, that there is no pre-declaration needed for any variable. You can use the variable on the fly. Then resize arrays dynamically. So arrays can be resized anytime, and they can be allocated. Their allocations can be done dynamically. Then we can to reuse a variable name, simply use it in the left hand side. So we can reuse it very easily if you just type in the left hand side of an assignment statement. Then MATLAB displays results in the scientific notation, E notation. So it always usually describes the results in the E notation. Then use file preferences and format function to change default. For example, short will be written in 5 digits, long will be written in 16 digits. Now there are some other basics. Variable names are case sensitive and overwritten when reused, definitely. If we are using the variable name, same variable names again, then it will be overwritten. Then basic variable class, they are auto-indexed array. This is the basic variable class. We can use that variable in terms of elements of the array, and that is auto-indexed. So we don't have to index it. We don't have to use any separate variable to index that array. Allows use of entire arrays. So we can be able to use scalar, one-dimensional, two-dimensional, etc. Very efficiently using as operands. Then vectorization, always use array operands to get better performance. We'll see in the next slide. Terminology, scalar is something like one by one array. This means that as particular value, I mean not value, particular variable which is a single in nature. I mean there is no concept of array. It's a one cross one array is a single variable. Then next terminology is matrix, which is a typical one-dimensional array, and we usually store it in this way that mostly it is 1 cross n or n cross 1. And then next comes the matrix, which is basically m cross n array, m rows and n columns. Special variables and functions, these are, I mean, to list a few, I mean these are not the only ones. There are huge list, there's a huge list which includes ANS, PI, EPS, INF, NAN, I, NARGIN, NARGOut, VARARGIN, VARARGOut. So to list a few. commands who ters output and whose verbose output shows variables in workspace. So this is the way we can be able to know how many variables are working in this current workspace. So this is all about the introduction of basics of MATLAB, and maybe in the next few sessions, we'll be dealing with in more details. Thank you.